Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. This is the beginner's guide for the FT-818, a nice little QRP radio. So let's do a master reboot. How do you do that? Well, here's the home button over here. Press and hold on that, and then press and hold on the power, and we'll hear a chime. There we go. It's reset completely. And you can see it's at 7 megahertz. Now, let's turn it off. So press and hold on the button. One thing I wouldn't do is leave the battery connected to the radio. I've noticed that it does discharge the battery. This is a 2017 version of the radio. You can always double check to see if that's true, but I've noticed that. So when I press and hold this button here, you'll see the voltage. There it is, 13 volts. And then it goes away. All right, so this knob right here, there's two knobs, I guess. The one that's here, this is the volume. And then you have the speaker here. And you can always put headphones on the side. Make sure you do the selector switch here, which is a phone and speaker. Put it on phone if you're going to use the headset. All right, so that's the volume. And then this outer ring here, this is going to be, so this is the AF for audio. And then the RF is more like the antenna gain, the sensitivity. The more you move it this way to the left, the less sensitive it is, and then you can't hear anything. And then when you move it to the right, then the antenna gets the maximum gain. These things you have to adjust to get it right. But those are the two items that you're going to be working with a lot as well. Okay, so the next thing is the VFO knob. Now they don't call it the VFO knob, they call it the main knob. I might call it the VFO knob, but it is a main knob because it does other things. But okay, so you can see the numbers. These are in what, 100 hertz, right? 100 hertz. You can see it's moving very nice and slow, right? And you can always move quick, but you can see the numbers don't move as fast. So the VFO knob, or the main knob, is one way of changing the frequency. Another one is the selector knob here, or the cell knob. And you can see that it's changing about 2.5, I think, 2.5 kilohertz. See, it says 985.0 and then 2.5. And so you can move pretty quickly like this as well to find that frequency that you want. You can always press the cell button once, and now you're in the megahertz section here. Okay. So you can always do that and then press this button again. Now you can always go to the frequency that you want. So that's one way. Another thing is this knob, in the frequencies that it's going, you can go a little bit faster or slower. Actually faster. To do that, I have the microphone here, and you can see that right here it says fast. So if I click on this button, you get the running man. And now I'm running a little bit faster in the frequencies on the main dial. See that? Running way more faster. And this will run faster too. It goes twice as fast. And so you're running faster with the running man. Another thing too is it also has the down and the up. So you can go up or down depending on which button you press. Or you can press and hold the down button and it just runs. And you can hear that it made a chime. You can press any button and it stops. And then up, press and hold, and it makes a chime, and then you can stop it. Okay, that's pretty neat. I'm gonna I'm going to remove this because I don't need this anymore. All right, so I'm going to lower the volume too so we can pay attention to what we're doing here. Let's see. So the one important thing is it has this port for the antenna and the one in the back. It's very important to know which one you should be using. You can see that there's an R right here for rear, so it's using the rear antenna. What about if you want to use the front antenna, right? So there's an F button here. You press and hold on it, and then you can use a select knob and then go to number 7. See, it says 1 here and then 7, antenna. Use the main dial, and now you're in the front, and then press and hold on the F button. Now you're in the front, and you can see that there's no R anymore, so you're not in the rear. I think that's pretty neat. Okay. One thing is, very quickly, if you press and hold on the power button, right, and you want to know the voltage, this is one way. You can press the button to turn it on. Press and hold. It takes a little while. It says 13 volts. Okay. So what about the amount of power? It's a QRP radio. So in this particular version of the 818, it does 6 watts. So how do I know if it's 6 watts or less for HF? So one thing you want to do is you want to just press, not press and hold, just press the F button. And now you have these other menus that are over here. And then what you can do is you can use the selector knob and then choose what you want. A/B, A/B, A equals B, a split, all these right here. And what I'm going to do is as you switch, as you move over, you get different menus. And the one I want is power. So if I go here and click on power, and these are the buttons. There's an A button, B button, C button. If I press A, now there's some icons in the bottom right there. And those icons mean different things. So right now with the L, with the 2 or 3, is it 3? Yeah, 3. With the 3 lines, they look like waves. That says I'm at 5 watts. And for AM, I believe I'm 1.7 watts. Then I can press the A button again. And you can see now there's an L with 2 lines, right? And that tells me now I'm at 2.5 watts for HF, and then 1 watt for, or I guess 2.5 watts for SSB, right? And then 1 watt AM. And if you press A button again, just press it once. That gives you L with 1 wave. That means 1 watt SSB, 0.7 watts for AM. And then it goes away. When it's gone, then we're at 6 watts for SSB. Okay. So, I'll just leave it there at 6 watts. A cool thing over here, if you press the F button again, you see it says meter and power. Now that's going to be important to choose what you want. So if you click on it, right, it says, click here to see what it says. It says the meter for ALC. You want to measure ALC when you click the button, or when you click the button, do you want to meter SWR? Again, you can click here to see what it tells you. SWR, right? Or maybe you want to do mod. And that one, I believe, is the deviation meter for power, I guess. You can always press this button here. And then meter for power, right? Let's do that again. You can click here once. It says meter the power. So you can meter the power if you want, how much power you're sending out. And again, I think it goes back to what? ALC, SWR, mode. I like to keep it at SWR. So when I press, so when I key it, so let's put this back, I guess, right? There's no antenna on this, and it's not going to ruin that 6 watts. And look over here. So the S meter here is measuring, right, any signals that are coming in. It doesn't have an antenna. But when I press this, it's going to be the SWR, and it's going to meter very high because there's no antenna. So all the power is going back into the radio. Whiskey, well, that's another problem, right? And it needs to be in the right band area, right? Very smart. Okay, let's go here. Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. So you can see it. There was a very faint line going over all the way across for SWR because there's no antenna. Whiskey Charlie, and there's a SW here. Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. Okay. No harm there. It's not going anywhere. Okay. But don't do that. Don't do that too often. We don't want your radio to get all messed up. Okay. So let's look at some other things here, right? We can see here a couple of things. We got the mode button up here, and then we have the band buttons here. So you want to change the bands, you want to change the mode, they're over here on the top. Okay. Then the VFO button, right? It's right here. Where is it? It's this one. So you click on it once, it gives you the memories, right? It says M. You click on it once, it gives you the VFOs, right? And then here's another button for the lock. That's pretty important. It locks the main dial, right? VFO. It doesn't lock the cell, the selector knob here. Okay, so we're going to unlock that. All right, so let's press the F button once and then move the selector knob here. And let's go back to A/B, A equals B, and SPL. So this one, A/B, changes the VFO from VFOb to VFOa. That's cool. And if I press the F button again to see the menu, you can make VFOa and VFOb equal to each other. You just press this button. And now VFOa and VFOb will have the same numbers. You can always press the A button to go back and forth, see? Now we can press the F button just to see the menus. And this is split, so you can do the split if you want. Okay. Okay. And press the F button to make sure to see these menus if you want. Now, let's say I want to display the voltage. So again, you have to, if you're like this, you got to press the F button to use the select knob, and we want to go with the one that says charge. I want to run here. See, charge. This is the button I think you use to charge the battery, the internal battery. I don't use the internal battery, but if you click here on volts, it'll display the volts instead of which which band you're in, A or B. So if you want the voltage to be displayed, that's how you would do it. You can press again the F button, right? So you can see these menus down here. Okay, I don't want the voltage to be shown. Again, I'm going to press the F button. Now, I can make the display bigger. So if I click here, it gives me the frequencies very nicely. Very big display if I wanted to. If I press this button, right, so this is A, B, and C. If I press C again, I'll make it smaller. But you gotta make sure that you're in the right menus, right, to do that. All right, I'm gonna press F. That goes away. All right, that's not too bad. Now, SSB steps, maybe I want to change those, right? I mean, maybe I want to change the way, like this is 2.5, right? Maybe I don't want that. So you press and hold on the F button, and then you scroll down to number 47. There's a lot of menus in here. You can always look them up on the manual. But as you know, the beginner's guide is just a beginner's guide. So 47 SSB steps, and then use the main dial 1 kilohertz, 2.5, 5. Okay, I like it at 1, and then press and hold the F button. Done. Now I'm moving at 1 kilohertz. Nice. All right. Next one I would say is the mic gain, right, on SSB. Maybe you want to change that. Press and hold on the F key. Let's go to number 46. Right, it says 46 right here. And then SSB mic, I'll go up a little bit maybe. Right, and then press and hold. And that might be subjective. I do like to put my mouth pretty close to the microphone. Okay, the next thing is the AGC, automatic gain control. That's very important to set. Let's go with the F button here. And then the selector knob. Let's look for the one that says NB. There it is, NB. AGC is an auto. I like to keep it in auto. But, and this is the A button, the B button. You can press the B button. You can make it fast. You can make it slow. You can turn it off. I want to leave it off. And I would do it on auto. Auto is pretty good. But you might have to change it for, maybe digital mode or something. And I press the F button here to show this menu. And this is the noise blanketer, right? For autos. If this is going to be in the car, this might help in alleviating some spurious noise or something. I'm going to leave that on. Okay. All right. Next thing definitely you want to use is the IPO, right? So we press the F button. We look for IPO. There it is. IPO. IPO is intercept point optimization. Okay. The thing is that when you turn it on, right? I'm going to press here. When you turn it on, it means it's going to disable the preamp, which a lot of the times is a good idea, because a lot of people say these radios are noisy. Well, that's because the preamp is turned on probably, and the gain, and this gain RF gain knob is turned to the right. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of noise. A lot of the times when the band conditions are good, you don't need the preamp to be turned on. So when you turn IPO, so again, press the F button. When you turn IPO on, then you don't have so much gain. And so because you don't have so much gain, the audio sounds a little bit better, a little more tapped down. But you can mess around with the radio and you'll see that band conditions need different settings. When another thing, very quick, if I can't hear the signal the person speak because it's very, very light, then you can probably turn that off, and then the preamp turns on, and then it boosts a little bit of the audio. All right, I'm going to press the F button. Let's go to attenuation. Sometimes the audio is too loud, right? And so you press attenuation, gives you 10 dBs down. Okay, now this particular radio has the filter, a ceramic filter, to narrow down what I hear and when I also transmit. So again, if you press the F button, right, and you're in this menu right here with the selector knob, right, there's narrow. Now here in this case, if I press and hold on the C button, remember I do have it in here, the filter. Right now it's off because I reset the whole machine. I can turn it on. Oh, there we go. I can turn it on. I can turn it off. I can turn it off for SSB or CW. It doesn't know which one it is. You have to tell it. So mine's an SSB, and I've made a video on the audio quality on this. You can check out how it sounds. So this is set. So you can press the F button here, and now we're set. So again, I'm going to press the F button, narrow, right? If I click on this, it doesn't do anything. But if you press and hold, it gives you that menu setting. Another way to get it, of course, press and hold the F button, and then scroll to number 38, and then you can select what you want. I'm going to leave it on. So I'm going to press and hold on the F key. A lot of steps, right? But you'll get used to it. Okay. All right. So the next one I think we're going to do is a repeater. Okay, so I have my microphone plugged in. I got an antenna that goes outside, and what I want to do is change my band, right? I want to go to 2 meters. Oh, by the way, here, one thing that we forget a lot, gotta use a selector knob. Look at that. That's K-Jazz. It's pretty neat, right? Okay, that's good enough. And it gives you WFM. That is really neat. We forget that these things are like radios when we were kids. But anyway, here's 2 meters. Okay. So we're going to try to see if we can communicate in the repeater in Torrens, I think, which is, I don't know, maybe 10 miles away or something. The antenna is outside. We're going to see if we can connect to the W6TRW repeater. And that's the one where you have the ham radio swap meet that happens at the end of the last Saturday of the month. All right, so we need 145. Okay, so you see, I need 145, 320. We're never going to get there. So if I press this button, let's see if it takes me to, yes, 145. Very nice. And then press this button. And then I'm going to need the receiving frequency. It's going to be 145.320. Okay. At this point right here, I'm in FM, so I better change that. There's the change the band here. Okay, to FM. And a squelch is over here. Gotta find out to minimize that background noise. Okay, that's good. You can see there's a little symbol here, a negative symbol. We'll talk about that. So in a repeater, you have a receiving frequency, right? But then when you press the button, it should shift to another frequency so that when it sends it out, the repeater picks it up, not everybody else. And then it, does whatever it needs. But it also has to have a tone to get into the repeater. So you need the receiving frequency, you need that shift so that when you send out your signal, it goes to the repeater, not everybody else. And the signal is going to carry a tone. That tone also needs to be programmed into the radio. So how do we do all this? That's a good question. Let's see. So the first thing I want to do is I can go to number 42. So I press and hold here. And I go to number 42. Aha. So our PT shift. And in this case, it's at 0.6, which is perfect. Okay, but you can always change it to what you need. Mine's 0.6. So you need that number. Okay? And then the tone. The tone will be at number 48. Okay, here's the tone. Tone frequency. Tone frequency, in this case, is 114.8. And those, I think, are set. So 114.8. Okay, great. Those two things I really need. And then I'm going to press and hold on the F button. All right, we're almost done. But let's look at this more closely. So if I press the F button, just press it once, I can move to where it says RPT. RPT. Where is RPT? Here it is. RPT, right? Now, RPT is to change the sign. Now, usually this is sort of automatic based on the frequency that you're in. But in my shift, right? Because remember, when I press this button, so again, the receiving frequency, everybody's listening to this, right? But if I want to talk to everybody else or have everybody listen to me, when I press the PTT button, it needs to transmit not on this frequency, but a different one so that the repeater can do it and process what it needs to do. The frequency that it does, it'll go up or down based on what I program it to. So I'm programming it so that it'll go down 0.6 megahertz. That's what the repeater needs. And then the sign here that you see down here, which it says negative. So when I press the button, this frequency number will go down 0.6 megahertz, right? But if I need to change this, I can always put it as a plus, or nothing, right? But I know it's negative, so that's important. So what about like, could the radio show me what happens when I press the PTT button? It does if you press this B button. Okay, it tells you, see, it's going down. It's 145.32 and it goes down to 144.7, and you can see the negative symbols going down. I mean, the negative symbol is blinking. Okay, then press it again. Now, the next thing you need to do, and you can see the running man right there. If you're like, what's that? How do you get rid of it? You can always press fast. It goes away. So the next thing is the tone, right? Like a lot of the times it's tone or SQ, DSC. I've never known which one is the right one. But I think on mine, I think it's tone. So I'm going to press the C button. So again, right, if you press the F button, it tells you RTP, REV, I guess that's review. And then the tone, if you press on tone, there's a T. Yeah, there's a T. You see that? And then you press this again, it gives you, well, it's hard to read. SQ, T and SQ. And then you press again. It gives you DCS. And you press again. Doesn't give you anything. So mine, I think, is tone for the repeater. Now I think I've programmed it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my microphone, and then I'm just going to press. I'm going to press the button for a little bit for the repeater to catch up, and then I'm going to do my call sign, and then I'll see if it gives me if the repeater talks back to me. I'm going to put up the volume a little bit so we can listen. Press and hold the PTT button. Wait like a second or so. Call sign. Let go of the button and see if it calls back to me. Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. There we go. Okay, it did do something. That was really neat. Not only, so the repeater did call back to me, and I don't know if you saw that, but the SWR meter didn't go that far. So my antenna is doing pretty good. Okay, now let's look at some other menu options that you might want to change. Let's click and hold the F key here. And then we'll start on number 1 over here. Number 1 here. And if I see something that I remember, this is apparently the mic gain for AM and the steps for AM. That's number 6. Number 7 is really important to go, the front or the back. You can always change it with the main dial here. What I'm looking for, apparently this turns off the beeps, right? Range. So I'm going to leave it at all. Oh, this is the auto backlight. I'm not sure how that works. I'm assuming when you press on something here, let's press and hold here. I'm assuming if you touch the dial, no. Or the PTT button, no. See, I don't know what that auto really means, but okay. Press and hold. If you want to turn off the backlight, that's really easy. That's the way to do it. Okay. Oh, well, it says on or auto. I'm going to leave it on auto. There's something here. Oh, the volume beep. You want to lower that down because it's annoying. You can lower it down. That's the cat rate. The color. You want to change the color. There's 3 colors. There's purple or blue, I guess. Orange and blue. That purple and that blue doesn't look the same. It looks the same on the screen, it looks like. Purple is really nice. Blue is a little bit more contrastier. And then the contrast, right? You can make the contrast disappear or very light. It's up to you. 5, I put it on 5. And these are all the other menus that might be interesting to you, but the digital mic, I guess, you can also change here. And let me see the digital mode ready. That says user U, user L, PSK31. That's interesting. Ready. And the digital shift. This is something for, I think, for Alaska. The gain for the FM, the steps for FM. And I'm not sure what that is. I'm trying to see if there was anything else. There's one that I'm not sure where it is. It's changing the audio sound. Let's see. That was the SSB mic and the steps. It's at the beginning for the beep. Here it is. Beep frequency number 12. 800 megahertz or 880 hertz or 440 hertz. I like the 440 hertz. Let's see. Yeah, that sounds a little more old school, doesn't it? Isn't that good? Right? Yeah, okay. All right. That gives you an idea of the back menu. Again, these beginner guides are more to, put it together very quickly so you get to know, where the dial is to change the frequencies, the bands, the mode, right? Maybe where the audio is, the AF and the RF. Because those are the things I remember when I was starting, with these brand new radios. I just wanted to get on air. And that's what these videos are for. So I hope that was entertaining, informative. I do have other videos for the 818, like the field setup. That might be interesting for you. Or the filter. I put a filter on this and see if you can hear the difference. I show you how to install it. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Any support in the channel is super. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. Bye bye.